It's a fight over wages. Competing groups rally over what's fair for tipped workers. Good evening, this is CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Well, legislation that would increase the county's minimum tipped wage is before County Council. The bill is introduced by Council Member Edward Burrows. A rally for the measure was held outside the Wayne Curry Administration Building today. It would boost pay for tipped workers yearly until it reaches $13 and then continue to rise with the state's minimum wage. Organizers say the bill is aimed at slowing the exodus of tipped workers to D.C., where the wage is $16 an hour, which is nearly 5 times Maryland's tipped wage.
I've been fighting for 22 years to ensure that workers in Maryland and across the country who can earn as little as $4 an hour here in Maryland get a full minimum wage with tips on top. 7 states have already done this. This is why Washington, D.C. just passed this bill, one fair wage, and it is why Chicago passed this bill on Friday for a full minimum wage with tips on top. It is why this is moving in Maryland, because so many workers are saying we will not work without a full minimum wage with tips on top.
We should keep our tips.
Maryland Restaurant Association held a counter rally at nearby Jasper's restaurant. Organizers say increasing the minimum tipped wage threatens tips, thus lowering the earnings of its workers. Demonstrators then crashed the One Fair Wage press conference.
76% of tipped employees say they are earning more than $20 an hour, while 40% say they are earning more than $30 an hour. And if tip wages were eliminated, 89% believe that they will earn less money. 80% that took this survey believe that their customers are unlikely to continue tipping on top of any service charge put on a customer check. Do we believe that or not?
The minimum tipped wage in Maryland is $3.63 an hour. Well, the American death toll in the Israeli-Hamas war is now up to 27. The U.S. State Department says starting tomorrow it will arrange charter flights to 8 Americans departing Israel. Meantime, the war, which started after Hamas launched missile strikes against Israel over the weekend, has claimed thousands of lives. Both sides decry atrocities that have killed so many people, including 326 Palestinian children.
The city is home to 2.2 million people, of whom about half are under the age of 18. So these are innocent children who are being targeted in these strikes that are being levied against hospitals and schools and marketplaces and houses of worship, and they're demolishing them. And it's just terrifying to know that this is the reality that these communities, that these families have been living under for many, many years.
For more information on those charter flights, visit the website on your screen. Meanwhile, here in the U.S., Islamic and Jewish groups say there has been a rise in harassment, threats, and hate crimes against their communities. Well, a federally funded program is helping some Americans wipe away some of their student loan debt. It's called the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. It allows full-time government workers and nonprofit employees to get some or their entire remaining student debt canceled. To qualify, you must have made a total of 120 monthly payments to your direct loans. The Maryland Center for Collegiate Financial Wellness says it provides financial education to people entering or those who have finished post-secondary education.
In Prince George's County, we have a lot of people who work for the federal government, as well as people who work for the state government, and many nonprofits are headquartered in this area as well. So it's really important for people who are working in these public service careers, often sacrificing the opportunity to earn more money on a for-profit track, to know that there's a benefit available for them to help them clear that debt off of their plates.
Kennedy says her organization is hosting a webinar known as Keys to Loan Forgiveness for Educators. It's set for next Tuesday. For more details, visit the website on your screen. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Back in a bit. Stay tuned.
After my wife died, it was like I lost myself too. I didn't feel like doing anything or seeing anyone. Then my granddaughter called to say she misses me, and I realized I had to make a change. I got referred to a psychiatrist, and she explained depression can happen to anyone. I'm learning that getting help for my depression doesn't make me weak. It makes me stronger. I just wish it made me better at fishing.
The mother of an 8-year-old boy who was gunned down 2 years ago is turning her pain into purpose. This is Tiffany Evans. Her son Peyton, known as PJ, was fatally shot inside an apartment in Landover back in August 2021. Today, Evans works as a violence interrupter with Hope of Action. Earlier this week, Evans joined a panel discussion that included the state's attorney and the county executive at Charles Flowers High School to talk to students about the rise in gun violence.
So we're just getting the education right now so we can be able to get into these communities, get into these schools, get with these families so that we can help figure out the problem, figure out the issue. And being on this panel today, it really opened my eyes to know that the problem really right now starts at home. It's a lot of parents just not taking accountability for the lack of parenting.
We have to make sure that there is accountability for these people who are breaking the laws and who are making individuals less safe in our communities. And at the same time, we cannot just be reactive to this issue of violence.
Meantime, Maryland State Police are still looking for the suspect that shot 2 people during the Bowie State homecoming festivities last Saturday. A $2,500 reward is being offered to anyone with information that leads to an arrest and indictment in this case. And County Council member Eva Burrows is giving out free security cameras to residents of District 8. The program is named in honor of 13-year-old Jays Agnew, who was shot and killed in his yard last year while raking leaves. Burrows has teamed up with the nonprofit Jones House to provide the free cameras to residents. Agnew's murder has not yet been solved.
And when the police was attempting to conduct their investigations, they knocked on everyone's door. They didn't find many surveillance cameras that were operational in the community. And so to this day, we have not caught the murderer. And so what this bill would do would provide about 1,000 District 8 residents free surveillance cameras at no charge to them. We know that security cameras have the ability to reduce crime and hold criminals accountable when they commit crimes in our community.
To be eligible, you must be a resident of District 8 living in a single-family home without a security camera. Also, you must have Wi-Fi, an email account, and a smartphone. Well, crime rose across our region between 2021 and 2022. That's the finding of a report from the Washington Council of Governments. According to the annual report on crime and crime control, property and violent crimes were up 11.6%. The property crime spike was attributed to a 17% rise in motor vehicle thefts. COG also noted that crime-fighting initiatives between the District of Columbia and Prince George's County are helping to put a dent in the crimes. Well, Democratic Party Central Committee carry a lot of weight during legislative vacancies. After choosing their nominee, they make a recommendation to the governor on who to appoint. And in the recent past, Governor Moore has approved those nominations to fill vacant seats.
The party that has a vacancy has a say. Independent voters or opposition parties have absolutely no say in the appointment process. And it's led to a really high rate of appointed elected officials in Maryland, because once those elected officials are appointed, they benefit from incumbency and time in office and almost always win re-election. About a third of our state Senate was originally appointed, and just under about 1 in 5 state delegates were appointed. So overall, it's about 23% of the state legislature.
Marilyn Perg says it's common when a state senator resigns that a delegate takes their seat. That in turn leads to a vacancy in the House of Delegates. Since the 2022 election, the Maryland General Assembly has had 9 appointees, and that could soon grow to 10 after Senator Melody Griffith's resignation. Well, the College Park City Council discusses expanding the role of its mayor pro tem. The move comes after former Mayor Patrick Boyan's arrest in March on child pornography charges. He has since pleaded guilty to 140 counts. Changes to the city charter would include giving the mayor pro tem more legal powers, plus ceremonial and council meeting duties. The present-day system prevents the mayor pro tem from taking care of city affairs in the absence of the mayor. Current mayor pro tem Denise Mitchell serves under Mayor Fazlul Kabir. And still to come, your Thursday Sports page with Simon Bugg. Stay tuned.
Hey there, sports fans, and coming up soon, UMD women's basketball coach Brenda Fries talks about the amount of talent that's in the DMV area, and also a linebacker from the UMD football team talks about how the defense can improve in 2023. Don't go anywhere.
Influenza is a potentially serious illness that is easily spread from person to person. The flu can affect anyone. However, people with certain medical conditions, including chronic lung disease, heart disease, and diabetes, are at higher risk of severe flu illness and complications. In past flu seasons, 9 out of 10 adults hospitalized with flu have at least one underlying medical condition. Protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community by getting the best available flu protection, a flu shot.
Welcome back. October is Pedestrian Safety Month, and the Maryland State Highway Administration is highlighting its Pedestrian Safety Action Plan. The plan identifies corridors across the state with the greatest safety and accessibility needs as the state strives to reach the goal of Vision Zero.
The Pedestrian Safety Action Plan follows on State Highway Administration's context-driven solutions for highways, and that leverages countermeasures for pedestrian safety that are proven nationally that will help us to focus on specific corridors that have these pedestrian needs so that we can go out there and make improvements. We have a focus on 4 key points on education, enforcement, emergency management, and engineering. And on that engineering piece, as part of our press release, we noted that our Pedestrian Safety Action Plan is focused on improving the corridors that have the most needs for vulnerable users.
SHA has set aside nearly $100 million for the plan. To view it, visit roads.maryland.gov and click on Pedestrian Safety. And now for today's Pet of the Week, meet Delgado, a 2-year-old purebred German Shepherd. Animal management says he is energetic and very friendly.
He loves to play ball. He's very friendly. He loves people. He's street motivated and he's very friendly. A family with kids or a single family that has time for him that will be able to provide a lot of attention because he does love to play.
To adopt Delgado, contact Animal Management at 301-780-7200.
Okay, everyone, it's time for your Thursday sports page. UMD has always made it a point of emphasis to recruit locally for their sports teams, and the women's basketball team is no different. This roster has local talent all over it, such as guards Riley Nelson and Jakia Brown-Turner, and also forward Allie Kubek. And head coach Brenda Fries touched on the level of talent the DMV has to offer.
We always want to keep the best talent home, and I feel like the DMV has some of the best talent leagues across the country. I mean, better, than any out there. So, for us, we're really intentional. I think sometimes players think they have to, go, out of state or go away from home. But when you have a top 15 ranked academic institution and a top 10 national power in your backyard, you get the best of both worlds. So, to me, it's an easy decision.
You can see these players in action on November 6th when they take on Harvard for their first game of the season. Meanwhile, the Terps football squad fell to Ohio State last weekend 37-17. The Terps defense struggled in this one, allowing 27 points in the second half. And linebacker Ruben Hippolyte gave his thoughts on how this defensive unit can improve going forward.
Just be more technically sound, especially in the passing game. Preparing more for that. And just keeping poise and composure. Even though we'll face adversity, it's always important to always snap back and get ready for the next play. I think earlier in the season we did a great job at jumping out on our opponents and really holding off to get the win. But when we face a little adversity, sometimes I can tether away a little bit. So just all about snapping back and really refocusing. That's one of the biggest things that I think we learned as a group.
The Terps will try and bounce back in their next game versus Illinois on Saturday.
So the question, Simon, is can they bounce back?
Oh, but Byron, I believe they will. It was a bad loss that they suffered on Saturday, but I do believe that Ruben Hippolyte, Coach Loxley, they will make the necessary adjustments, especially on the defensive end, and I do think they'll come out with the win on Saturday.
We'll see.
We will.
All right. And that's the news for tonight. I'm Byron Scott. See you tomorrow night. Good night.